Good morning and welcome everyone to Temple Buddhist Center's Sunday meditation service. My name is Victor, and I'm honored to be of service this morning. We hope that today's meditation service finds each and every one of you happy and healthy. But please know that if you are struggling in any way, we hope that our Sangha and our service can be a source of refuge for you as we open our hearts to you and to your loved ones. And just a quick reminder that we do have cushions available down front here for those of you that might like to sit on a cushion. Also, there are tissues and throat lozenges available at the back of the meditation hall. There's also some listening devices back there if you would like to have a listening enhancement. So let's go ahead and begin our service this morning with 3 conscious breaths. A conscious breath is where you seal the mouth, breathe deeply through the nose, hold that breath for a few moments, and then release slowly so that the exhale is longer than the inhale. Let's begin. Holding for a moment, ventilating this precious human form, and releasing slowly. And as you release, taking a moment to partner with the body as we scan, looking for any parts of the body that might be tense or contracted, noticing the forehead and the eyebrows, the jaw, relaxing the shoulders, softening the belly. And a second conscious breath together. Holding. And releasing slowly. And as you release, giving yourself permission to unplug from that energy of going and doing, perhaps getting ready this morning or taking care of family members. And taking time to cultivate together the energy of being, that energy that requires nothing of us, is a constant source of vitality, essence. And a third conscious breath together. And releasing. And as you release the breath this third time, simply allowing into your awareness the present moment. And so here at Temple Buddhist Center, we like to begin our services with a little bit of chanting. Chanting is an integral part of every tradition. Chanting is not about being a singer. It is about having a voice. It is about a deeply devotional expression from within to without, sharing what is sacred within us, not only with our Sangha, but with our community and with the world. Our chant this morning is Om Ami Dewa Ze, Om Ami Dewa Ze. And this is a chant that enhances compassion. And as the Buddha said, if your compassion does not include yourself, then it is incomplete. And so let us take a conscious breath together as I invite Ricky to tone us in. Together. Om Ami Dewa Ze, Om Ami Dewa Ze, Om Ami Dewa Ze, Om Ami Dewa Ze. Om Ami Dewa Om Amideva Om Amideva Om Amideva Om Amideva Once more. Om Amideva And so here at Temple Buddhist Center, we practice Western Buddhism. Western Buddhism is a blend of Eastern philosophy and Western psychology. And this new and exciting form of spirituality is dynamic, it's inclusive, it's active, and focuses on core Buddhist insights, including mindfulness, meditation, and their practical applications in our daily lives. Our goal here is not to get everyone to agree on a specific lineage or philosophy or sect of Buddhism, but rather it is on a shared experience of mindfulness, oneness, and love. Whether we are chanting together, spending time in noble silence, or sharing from the heart, we respect that you will participate at a level that is comfortable for you. We take refuge in the three jewels of Buddhism and acknowledge these core values as expressions of the awakened mind, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. We value awareness of our own Buddha nature, as well as the Buddha nature of all persons, bringing a fresh new perspective to each and every encounter. And the second jewel, the Dharma, the truth teachings that release us from fear and delusion and help us to realize the true nature of who we are. And finally, Sangha, our spiritual community, an essential part of growth where we come together to practice the teachings and to support each other along every step of the path. So let's take a moment now to silence any cell phones or electronic devices. If you're at home, anything you need to do to prepare your surroundings and your environment for a time in meditation and contemplation. We will begin with the prayer of refuge, which we will recite 3 times for the 3 jewels. Together, in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. And so as we prepare now for a time in meditation, if you have an extensive practice, then we invite you to practice in a way that is fitting for you this morning. If you are new to meditation, we're going to begin with a dedication of intention. We will awaken the bell 3 times for the 3 jewels. And then our teacher today, Mr. Robert Brumet, will lead us in a guided meditation that's designed to assist you in moving into the stillness. We will spend approximately 10 to 12 minutes this morning in noble silence, connecting with each other in consciousness. And so let's begin with a conscious breath. Body, speech, and mind in perfect oneness. I send my heart along with the sound of the bell. May the hearers awaken from forgetfulness, transcend the path of anxiety and sorrow, and realize the true nature of who they are.
As we listen to the sound of the bell, receding into the silence, follow that sound into the silence. With each breath that you take, let that take you deeper into the silence. From the world of sound into the world of silence. From the world of form into the world of emptiness. From the world of doing into the world of being. Breath by breath. Every breath we take, every sound we hear, as we exhale, as the sound recedes into the silence, follow that. Following the breath, all the way through we follow the breath. Feeling the breath in the body, feeling the breath in the belly, feeling the breath as it moves through the chest, diaphragm, throat, out the nostrils, following it even beyond. Breathing in, breathing out, gently letting go, gently letting be. Relaxing, breathing, settling in to true being in the world of silence. In the silence, we rest. I invite you to continue being with the breath, with the feeling sensations in the body. Feeling the body sitting in the chair or on the cushion. Feeling your arms and your legs, your connection with the earth, with the floor, with the chair. Bringing awareness to hearing. And in a moment, we're going to ring the bell, and as you hear the sound of the bell, I invite you to gently, slowly open your eyes, and as you do so, continue the practice with your eyes open, meditating with seeing, hearing, sensing the body, being aware, being present in your everyday life, fully awake here and now. Thank you, Victor. Good morning. Happy Interdependence Day. I have declared July 3rd official Interdependence Day. This morning I want to talk about interdependence and how it's an essential part of Western Buddhist practice, and then give you a couple of specific practices for experiencing interdependence. So let's look at that word in case you're not familiar with it. We all know what dependence means, and that's typically the starting point. You know, in human life, we are dependent. And then as teenagers, we attempt to be independent. We believe we're independent. And that's a necessary part of the maturation process to separate from the dependence of the parents. And then eventually, when we become adults, we realize that we are interdependent with our parents and with the rest of the world. You see, that we don't depend on them, they don't depend on us, we are not independent, but we are interdependent. We see that in American history. Initially, our country, before it was a country, was dependent totally upon Europe, particularly England, for its existence. And then we declared independence, which we're celebrating tomorrow, all weekend actually. And we remained, as it were, independent for many, many years, all the way up through the beginning of World War II. And even during World War II, when Hitler was overrunning Europe, why the American people were saying, that's got nothing to do with us. Sounds pretty weird today, but that's definitely the way it was. And so Churchill and Roosevelt had to contrive to get us involved, which fortunately we were, and we did. And ever since then, we began realizing our interdependence with other nations. And of course, today that's a given, that we are so interdependent that, we're seeing that today when we try to we try to shut down the economic flow to one country, and we find that it comes back and affects us as well as our allies, that we can't do anything to anybody in isolation. It just echoes back. So we realize we are interdependent, particularly, our primary awareness of that, I think, is with economics and commerce, how interdependent we are. So, same way with nature, we're beginning to see that. Maybe, I hope it's not too late. Humankind, originally was totally dependent upon nature. We were children of nature. And then with the scientific revolution, with Christianity, we began to believe that we were independent of nature. We were separate, totally separate, and that what we did to nature had nothing to do with us. And today we're finding that's not true. And slowly, painfully slowly, we're realizing the interdependence of our lives with nature, with the rest of the world. Everything we do affects everything else in one way or another. So let's relate this to the practice of Western Buddhism. Western Buddhism incorporates the original Buddhist practice, the Theravadan practice, which is based on the teachings of the Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha. And when he was on his deathbed, the senior monks and Sangha leaders gathered around and said, Tathagata, can you appoint a successor? Can you appoint a leader, someone that will take your place? And he refused. And he says, be ye lamps unto yourselves. And that's always been one of the slogans of Theravadan Buddhism, early Buddhism. Be ye lamps unto yourselves. So in the early Buddhist practice, it was very individualistic. And the intention was to become an arhat, which meant to basically escape the wheel of samsara, to go beyond to the other shore, as it were. But we do it one at a time. It's every man for himself, quote unquote, so to speak, was kind of the byword back then. And then around the time of Christ, around 100 BCE, a new form of Buddhism arose in the north of India called the Mahayana. And the Mahayana took a very different attitude toward things. Its focus was not just on the individual transcending and escaping, but the focus was on the, quote, salvation of all beings, so that our work was not just to be an arhat, which meant to escape individually, but to become a bodhisattva. The bodhisattva intention is to do the same as the arhat, but to bring all beings with us, that we don't do it in isolation. So the Mahayana Buddhism, the second vehicle, is what brings us into the awareness of the interdependence, the collective. So in Western Buddhism, in this Sangha, as we teach it here, we teach Theravadan practice, we teach the words of the teachings of the Buddha, and we also have the Mahayana vision, that we are not practicing for ourselves alone, we are practicing for all beings, and that's reflected in the various prayers and chants that we do in here. In Mahayana Buddhism, there was also a movement towards something called sunyata, or emptiness. In Theravadan, a central belief is that there is no central self to each of us, any of us. And in Mahayana, the teaching is there's no central self to anything, which means that there is no reality to separation. That separate beingness is simply an appearance and not a reality. Just as the Theravadan Buddhists would say, the sense of self is in a way a fiction, maybe a useful fiction, but it's a fiction. And so the Mahayana Buddhists would say any form of separation, any form of individuality is a fiction. And we're seeing that backed by science today that tells us that, that no matter what we look at, it's nothing but dancing lights. It's not really what it really is, you see. It's empty. Our bodies are 99.99% empty. And everything in the world of form is filled with emptiness. And so the Heart Sutra chant, the form is emptiness, emptiness is form. It's an enigmatic statement, but it's basically telling us that form and emptiness are basically the same thing, just seen from a different perspective. That's all it is. So reality has two sides: emptiness, or the absolute, where there is no separation, and the formed world, the relative, where there is separation, as it appears anyway. But these are not two different worlds, they're the same reality. And one of the examples I use as a way to relate to that, that's helpful for me, is if you remember back when it was real popular, still around today, is the Gestalt images, where you look at one black and white and you see one thing and then you blink and you see another, the faces and the vases, you remember that one? You look at, and you'll see either faces, you'll see two faces looking at each other, or you'll see a vase. But you won't see both at the same time. That's what's so interesting. You'll look, faces, 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 you blink, there's a vase. Or you'll see a face and your friend will say, I don't see a face, I see a vase. And which is right? Well, they both are. And they're both right there in that same picture. And another example is like the bear in the woods kind of a picture, where you see the woods, and it's a big poster, you see the woods, and if you just stare at it long enough and relax your eyes, all of a sudden you see the bear in the woods, which you couldn't see before. It was already in there, but it was unseen until we had the eyes to see it. And you can't point it out to anybody. You say, see the bear? You'll point right to it. I don't see any bear in there. So emptiness and form are much the same way. And when we practice meditation, we can sort of go back and forth between the face and the vase, if you will, between the bear and the woods. I think that's what we do when we sleep at night. You know, we go from the world of form to the world of emptiness. And there's a reason we need to sleep. You know, we need that balance. We need the balance of form and emptiness. So I'd like to give you a couple of practices you can do. These are very simple, down-to-earth practices, and one of them I like to do is I call it the universe in my breakfast. So just imagine that you're having a simple breakfast of cereal and milk and, say, a banana and a cup of coffee, okay? So we look at this and pick one that I want to look with. Let's pick the cereal, okay? So we look at the cereal. What's in the cereal? Well, there's the grain, of course, the wheat or whatever it is. And in that grain is sunshine, rain. In that cereal is the mill that processed the grain, the farmer that raised the grain. In that mill is the gasoline that powered the harvester that harvested the grain. You know, the dairy farmer or the almond farmer or whatever it is that brought you the milk. The coffee, the plantation owner, the plantation workers, the shippers, the truckers, the grocers. And all of this, of course, depends upon petroleum and electricity. And where does petroleum and electricity come from? Basically, it's ancient sunlight. It comes from millions of years ago. And so when we eat breakfast, we're going back in time, millions of years. We're going all over the earth, you say. And we go to the sun, ultimately. All the energy comes from the sun, you say. And another practice, and I'd like to share this with you. Well, before I leave that one, I invite you to try this. Just take an hour to eat breakfast. And when you have a sip of coffee, taste all of that. Or tea, or whatever you're drinking, you see. Taste all of that. Taste the sunshine. Taste all the people that have been part of that. And stop and give gratitude. Stop and give gratitude for all of the people, the unseen and unknown plantation workers and the people that drove the trucks and the people that worked on the docks and the grocery store clerks and packagers. And thank you for bringing my breakfast to me. And we can do this with anything. We can do this with our clothing. You can do it with our cars, our computers, and so forth. So whatever you see in the world of form, know that that's simply a visible form for something that's totally invisible, all that goes in it. You know, the acorn is in the tree is in the acorn. So when we look at the acorn, we can see the tree. When we look at the coffee, we can see all that goes into that cup of coffee. And another practice, I move quickly here, and this is one that I like. It was given, I first heard it from Deepak Chopra, who shared this in a lecture he gave in this very building some 30 years ago. And one of the things that he says is this: based upon calculations derived from radioisotope studies, we know that with every breath you exhale, you disperse 100 billion trillion atoms that were once part of every organ of your body. From these same studies, we know that in the past 3 weeks, 1,000 trillion atoms, 1,000 trillion atoms have passed through your body that have been a part of the body of every living being on this planet. In the past 3 weeks, 1,000 trillion atoms in your body have been shared with every living being on this planet. And in your body, right now at the present time, your body contains about 1 million atoms that were at one time a part of the body of Jesus of Nazareth, Siddhartha the Buddha, Adolf Hitler, Genghis Khan, Mohammed Skande, etc., etc. The atoms don't care. So we are interrelated whether we like it or not. We can not be interrelated. And it can be a powerful meditation practice just to sit and just imagine your atoms coming and going. And how at this very moment we're swapping atoms. And that at every level we are interrelated with all beings. And yes, we have our individuality, and that's an important part of our practice and who we are, our uniqueness. That's one side of it. That's the faces. Then there's the other side, the vases, which is our self as one with all beings. So that's our practice, is to bring the two of those together. And so with that, I wish you a happy Interdependence Day. Boom.
Oh, took a dive.
They do that in Zen practice sometimes. They go, just to wake you up.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Robert. And so we just take a moment now to take in and embody the teachings. Instead of trying to figure out, analyze, synthesize, it can be helpful to simply resonate with the teachings. And so it's not uncommon to, as we shift from one part of our service to the next, as we move into a heart practice, if you need to adjust your posture or stretch or shift in any way, that can be very common to do that. And also, as we move into a heart practice, it is sometimes some folks like to bring with that an outward expression. So for example, a physical gesture with heart practice. Some people will simply form the Anjali Mudra or the heart focusing. Some folks might want to place their hand on their heart or two hands, or even if you just sit with your hands cupped in your lap, all are absolutely acceptable as we move in now to metta, or loving kindness practice. So let's begin with a conscious breath. And as you release that breath, I invite you to bring to mind the image of you, a full body image of the form that has been given your name and that has accrued the many experiences over the years. And holding this image in your mind's eye, recite silently to yourself these words of loving kindness or metta practice. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be safe from inner and outer dangers. May I be well in body and mind. And may I be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. And as you release that sentiment into the universe, I invite you now to bring to mind the image of a friend of yours. Holding this image in your mind's eye of your friend, let us open our hearts as we send metta. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and mind. And may you be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. As you release that sentiment into the universe, I invite you now to bring to mind the image of an acquaintance, someone you have met recently, or a clerk or a cashier. And holding this image in your mind's eye, let us open our hearts as we send metta. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and mind. And may you be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. And as you release that sentiment into the universe, I invite you now to bring to mind the image of a difficult person in your life, a challenging person, perhaps a boss, a coworker, a neighbor, family member, or even a political figure. And holding this image in your mind's eye, let us open our hearts as we send metta. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and mind. And may you be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. And as we release that sentiment into the universe, I invite you now to bring to mind the image of the world, all the plants and the flowers and the trees, animals of the land, the sea, the sky, and all sentient beings, including ourselves, holding this image in our mind's eye, let us open our hearts as we send metta to us all. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be safe from inner and outer dangers. May we be well in body and mind. And may we be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. And in the true spirit of Dana, the Buddhist practice of generosity, temple services here are given freely. In the same way, if you choose to give, please give with a generous heart, which means not in return for anything that you have received today, but rather so that those who are seeking refuge may find it here, in this temple, with these teachers, with these teachings, with this Sangha. And also we take a moment to allow our hearts to fill with gratitude for all of our amazing volunteers, all those folks who work tirelessly each week to help bring spiritual connection and nourishment to our Sangha, both near and far. And also, we welcome all of our friends and family and Sangha members who are joining us from all over the world. And also a big howdy to Bill and Marie, our traveling Sangha, who are joining us this weekend from their travels all around the country. And also we take a moment to honor all of our ambassadors, those folks who have made a monthly contribution, a regular monthly contribution. And again, it's not about the amount, it's that the regular monthly giving helps us to set a budget here at Temple Buddhist Center. And if you would like to become an ambassador, just stop by our website and click on the Love Offering button. Or if you just want to give today, the Love Offering boxes are located at the back of the meditation hall. Thank you so much to Rochelle for your wonderful music and for sharing your brand new set of free notes with us. She just got them this weekend. And also, thank you so much to each and every, thank you so much to Mr. Robert Brumet for sharing your teachings, your heart, your generosity, your knowledge, your friendship, your mentorship. There's so much that you do for us, and we never want to take that for granted. So thank you so much. And thank you to each and every one of you for sharing your heart, your presence, your practice with us here at Temple Buddhist Center. We certainly are the better for it. And so as we prepare now for the Bodhicitta dedication, we'll bring that up here and we'll recite this together. And then we'll sound the closing bell and then have just a few brief announcements. And together, may the pure, brilliant sun of Bodhicitta dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness of suffering and confusion unstoppably until all are illumined and awakened. And with our hands together in front of our hearts as we go forth now from this place, may we enter each moment in innocence, guided by the wisdom of our hearts. And as we open our hands, open our eyes, shine our light into the world. Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone. And just a couple brief announcements of things going on in the Temple Buddhist Center Sangha and community. We have Interplay, unlocking the wisdom of your body and exploring freedom through the expression of play. This is happening every Sunday now from 1 to 3 and will go through July 31st. And so please join us today at 1 o'clock. There'll be signs in the lobby, but it's right downstairs in the Rainbow Room. Also, I have corrected this. I am so sorry. A lot of the stuff that was going out was correct, but my little graphic up here had the wrong date. It is not June 28th, as unfortunately, I hope nobody found that out, but it is July 28th. And that is Feel Your Blankety Blank Feels. It is a class that is going to be working with processing grief through mindfulness, meditation, resiliency, and emotional intelligence. And our very own Crystal Webster, along with Sharing Solace, will be facilitating this class. It is both hybrid, online, and in person. And so we would like you to register for this, if you please, so that we can get information out to you. So that's coming up here July 28th from 6 to 9 if you want to join us live and in person, or over the Zoom class. Also, lots of great things. Don't forget, today is the first Sunday of the month, which means Helping Hands Sunday. So as you exit the meditation hall, there will be little blue bags on the table outside. We invite each family to take one and keep this in your car so that as you encounter a person experiencing homelessness, you may offer this to them. It is filled with all kinds of essentials and things that can help them get through a difficult time. And then also next Sunday will be Meditation 101. We have, don't forget, Kyle will be there facilitating today our post-service discussion group. And that is in the Heritage Room, which is just out the doors to the left. Please join us either online at home or here personally and present to talk about the teachings and how they apply to our lives in a safe setting and with a close-knit Sangha. And also a quick reminder that beginning the middle of this month, we're only going to be offering youth meditation at the 10:30 service. Children under 4 are always going to be cared for, so child care is always available for every service, but the youth meditation ages 5 and up will only be offered at 10:30. And let's see. Tai Chi Cha, we've been building a wonderful Sangha, has been showing up. We had almost 10 people last Tuesday who are coming and learning Tai Chi Cha, the art of joy through movement. This is an opportunity to bring your meditation from the formal sitting cushion into movement. And so with that, we wish everyone peace and blessings. I forgot to mention there's coffee and cookies downstairs.